Samuel, good evening and welcome to News in Focus. And perhaps you wanted to have a brief chat with Anthony Walthausen.
Good evening, Eunice, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to the listeners as well. And I know the gentleman fairly well. I was on their election debate program in 2021. So I know the work they do in Pietermaritzburg, so it would be interesting for him to share and give an update in terms of the work that they've either uncovered or the work that they've put together or the work that they've exposed, so that it enables us to, on behalf of the listeners, particularly in Maritzburg, because we have a very big interest in Maritzburg, particularly the radio station, to dissect and get some information from him, which will help put residents at ease, but will also, if true, expose all the shenanigans that are happening in Umsunduzi. So, Mark, welcome, and floor is yours.
Thank you, Stanley. Yes, well, things are still at the same. Previously we had interviews with this radio station, and we can report that nothing has changed within Umsunduzi municipality. We still continue with the actual with the infrastructure, especially electricity and water infrastructure outages on a daily basis. This week we have residents in the northern areas been without water for the past 10 days. That just shows to you that the infrastructure in Maritzburg is really falling apart. Other than that, we continue as an organization to engage with residents, to educate them and work with them, and to make them realize that they do have a voice and they do have the power to hold municipality accountable, but also the councillors as well, to hold them all accountable.
I think the question is for the listeners, Mark, and sorry to sort of...
Yeah, no, I'm getting there.
Apologies.
No, I'm getting there. Just
how would we say Umsunduzi being the capital of the province, we should be taking a lead from you guys. That's what the residents would be saying. So would appreciate if you can sort of unpack the pressure that you're putting on this municipality.
Well, we're putting quite a lot of pressure on this municipality. For example, we actually have met with Ravi Pillay. He's the chairperson of the Premier's working group. He gave us a background of the purpose of that working group. We've also have met with the forensic team at the KZN Copter, who's actually are doing which was Section 106 investigation into Umsunduzi municipality. But unfortunately, I'm not able to give much information around that investigation because it's just recently started. But what I can say is that the council, as well as some of the senior staff, are pushing back to want to stop the actual investigation. And we have actually been interviewed by East Coast Radio as well as ENCA, and we've actually made the statement is that, why do you want to stop this investigation? Do you have anything to hide? So we actually are putting pressure on the municipality for this investigation to actually go ahead, and which they are going to be going ahead. And we have submitted information to the forensic investigating team, which does expose some corruption within the municipality, and we're hoping that this investigation will actually unearth much more of the actual rot in our city.
So you're saying, and I'm throwing a curveball at you. So you're saying that you want the investigation to be investigated by those the organization that actually is perpetuating the allegations?
No, the actual the embassy of Cocta, the forensic team from KZN Cocta is actually going to be will be investigating the municipality, and we have submitted information to them that related to alleged corruption and maladministration within the municipality, and they will have to investigate.
And I mean, I'm talking about, for example, former honorable member Ravi Pillay. I mean, he's in the Premier's office. This is a critical matter, it's a sensitive matter. You've been raising these issues, from my understanding, for the last 5 years as Mark. And residents are wanting to know, what are the outcomes that people can be confident going into 2026 local government elections?
Well, just to clarify, Ravi Pillay is not part of this investigation. He's actually the chairperson of the Premier's working group. So the whole purpose of the working group is to provide support to the municipality. The Section 106 is a separate entity that is investigating who's doing a forensic investigation into the municipality. So from our side is that we're hoping that they will actually unearth a lot of the rot in the municipality, which then can be actually move on to actually the conviction of some of the probably municipal staff and politicians as well. And we have been.
Can I ask the question, Anthony? And I mean, I know time is of the essence, so I'm a bit under pressure for time. There appears to be a allegation against the mayor, in that apparently there's a post on social media that's being circulated which links him to the late former Secretary General of the Youth League, Makaka. Have you guys been involved in that? What's the impact of that, and how is it? I mean, it's a fact that the last 20 years, Msunduzi has either been in administration or has been fraught with bad publicity, poor service delivery, maladministration, incapacity. I don't want to use the word incompetence because that we could be taken to task for that. So Msunduzi has generally, over the last 2 to 3 decades, just been a case of poor. What's your response to it?
Well, just to clarify, the municipality has actually posted a claim that around the mayor as fake news because the actual former municipal manager of Umsumkulu, a local municipality, was actually arrested for the murder for that councillor, not the mayor. So that's the municipality has actually posted on their Facebook page that it is fake news. That you're referring to.
Yeah.
But overall, the thing is that we really need from our side to put pressure onto the municipality to deal with all the challenges we're experiencing. And this is from our side what we've actually been very proactive in that we actually engaging mostly with the senior staff around the RDP and the budgeting process. And this is where we as residents are getting more involved to actually highlight and to include issues and areas of actual addressing the development of the city through the RDP and budgeting process. And just to on the other side of things, from my side personally, I'm just actually doing a 3-year diploma in local government management, and I'm actually doing a research project around public participation. And my engagement with the RDP manager and the manager at the Speaker's office, whereby we're actually looking at implementing proactive steps to make sure that residents are more involved in decision-making processes at the municipality. And this is where we can have to monitor and actually to highlight and bring out all these issues, the poor expenditure and things like that. So this is where we can be much more proactive.
Anthony, the question that I'm sure the listeners want to know is that eThekwini, for example, is under the President of the Republic has commissioned what they call the Presidential Working Task Team, or Presidential Working Group. And we've seen in eThekwini, for example, the chaos 2 years ago versus now. I mean, things have improved, not to a point of satisfaction, but they've certainly improved phenomenally. And the question I'm asking Mark and every other ratepayers association in Msunduzi is, why haven't you or the ruling party in Msunduzi or the provincial government of unity asked for a replica of the PWG in Msunduzi? Or have you not thought about it?
What was that again, sorry? The
The President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, has appointed in the city of Joburg and in the city of eThekwini a task team that reports to him. So he's parachuted some people onto the task team on the administration of the cities to get the standard of service delivery up, right? The question I'm asking is, why hasn't it been done for PMB?
Well, we have actually written to the minister, the national minister of COGTA to
No, I'm not
actually.
talking about the national minister. I'm talking about the president.
Well, this is the thing: we have to follow the due process in respect of going to the national minister of COGTA. We actually asked that for the national minister to intervene as well. And
what did the national, because the national minister is an IFP guy. So what did he do?
Well, there was no response. I think what they're doing is internally that they actually pushed it over to the KZN COGTA to intervene, and this is why the Premier has intervened to establish this working group to assist the municipality, and then also the MSC has actually instituted Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act, whereby they are going to be doing a forensic investigation, and I'm hoping that through this investigation, where you'll actually unearth a lot of the rots in the municipality, and all the corruption will come out from this. And from there onwards, then we can actually take it further to actually make sure that these suspects are actually allegations against either the politicians or the municipal staff, that they actually be convicted for these allegations against them.
Before I hand you over to Eunice, just one final thing, just a comment, and I'm sure you'd appreciate it. We've just seen the President of the Republic call a commission of inquiry into the Mkwanazi issue. And we've probably had about 8 or 10 commissions of inquiries. Have you got any hope that this is another one of these inquiries? We don't know how long it will take. Thanks, Eunice.
We didn't have much time to talk about the Mkwanazi inquest. There have been counter allegations of corruption against him. They're citing him for being involved in certain kidnaps, etc. Some critics are saying that this is intended to blemish, the allegations that he made. So, what's your take on that, Samuel?
Thank you, Eunice. Can I just say the following as a summary or as a summation? Anybody who pronounces that implicates the African National Congress whilst they're in government will face the wrath or the ire as a defense mechanism of the ruling party. A wounded animal fights best uh, um, when it's pressed in a corner and it's under pressure, and it happens all over the world. Uh, the, 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 the worry I have with ordinary South Africans, they haven't qualified, or in other words, the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi have not been tested. But we've got all of South Africa generally who are saying hands off Mkhwanazi, hands off this, hands off that, as if whatever the guy says is now a supreme being. Law says an allegation must be tested. Right? The problem in our country is that the judicial system is stretched, is not broad enough to deal with things decisively. So that's why we call all these retired judges back, and the courts are full. I mean, the lead time in courts is between 6 and 12 months. So South Africans are caught in this quandrum, or this conundrum, quandary, in other words, where it's frustration. So it's like a drowning man clutching at a straw in the sea. We clutch on any little thing which seems to tick their frustration button. But here's where ordinary South Africans are not effective participators. We continue voting for the same thing, but we complain later. The only way change can occur is twofold. One, you've got to vote right, because power is in the ballot box. But two, and most importantly, and we're not saying who you must vote for, but two, and most importantly, the average polling rate, or the average voter turnout, like that's a better word, it's probably only about between, if you look at all by-elections, some of them are even worse, between 30 and 50%. You've got to come out and vote. If you want to make a change in your city, you want to make a change in your neighborhood, you want to make a change in your country, you want to, let me put it to you this way. I had a very interesting chat with an extremely senior guy over the last couple of days. Let me leave you with this fact, and actually I've forgotten about it. Did you know from the Mozambique border on the coast to the Namibian border on the west coast, there are only 4 Coast Guard boats. That's about 4,000 kilometers of coastline. How certain are you that contraband and illicit flows are not coming off the boats because there's no Coast Guards? The only way you ascertain stuff legally is at the port. So what do we know is happening between the ship coming to the port, anchoring before it gets to the port? There's only 4 Coast Guards. It's crazy. We've got no capacity on border control. We've got no capacity militarily. We've got no capacity in the navally. We've got no capacity anywhere. And the next issue is, and I raised this a year ago, when we did the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we didn't go deep enough. It focused primarily on torture, on black violence, on apartheid state instigations, but it never focused on, I just drove through Block AK, with the Daily News opposite the Greyville Racecourse. That land claim, 30 years later, has not been solved. Same on Woodstock. Nobody's spoken about all the Indian people and the colored people who were forcefully removed from Cato Manor, Kumban, Mayville, people who lost their houses, who were never compensated. Land claims have never been attended to. South Africa, through its compromise, has not fulfilled what its intended object was in 1994. that black people still have, when I talk about black, I talk about constitutionally, colored, those referred to as Indian, and white and African people, those referred to as African. We're all black in terms of constitution. Those are all unanswered questions. And so ordinary people see an elite group of people. I mean, I just heard today one fellow got found dead in Mhlanga. He had 18 million in the safe. 18 million cash. One guy. And those are the issues that make ordinary people frustrated. Lastly, with no disrespect, so we're not painting white people in a corner, but the truth needs to be told. How white people amassed generational wealth. When I listened to this guy, Rob Hersov, the other day, saying that white primarily, and they're primarily owned by white companies, by white people. Big businesses sitting with 1.7 trillion rands worth of monies that could have been used in investment and haven't invested it because of corruption. The question you're going to ask is, okay, apart from it, most of it being publicly listed, so some of it is offshore funds. If it's local, how was that amassed? Has anybody asked those questions? Where did that money come from? We can prove most of those defined as black came to South Africa for the Indian community as Indian traders. They worked their way up. Also doctors, lawyers, accountants, surgeons, and so forth. And you can put a value to their generational wealth. But we can't put a value yet to the generational wealth that was accrued over the last 300 years. And that's where the frustration is. Now, the last thing we don't want is an uprising. So government, this is why people vote. You want a government that can go and represent you. And as long as they're not representing your needs, we're going to sit where we pay 1 billion rands worth of interest a day. Besides paying for the loan, 1 billion, 365 billion, which is nearly 33% over, just under 30%, I apologize. Under 30% of the total revenue collected is paid on interest. That's the worry. I thank you.